You'll have to excuse it. The weather, it's raining, quite steady here. I was thinking Australia's got a housing crisis. So has many countries. There's no houses to rent. When they are way overpriced. No one on a pension can afford them, unless you starve yourself. It's all designed by globalists. They don't want us doing anything. They want us to be serfs. We know all that rubbish. We don't need to really discuss that. What I want to discuss is what I did. I could see it coming. Now, I did have all my goods damaged in a flood. It wasn't the flood that damaged it. It was my house I was renting was isolated. People broke in and damaged it. I could see the writing on the wall because there was a big house shortage. We just got over the COVID tyranny. I could see that prices were going to rise. Well, my house that was $250 a week is now over $600. Well, I can't afford that, right? And I was actually sharing the rent with my ex-wife who was living on another part of the property. And it was still hard to pay with everything you need if you're going to run a car. So I decided to get out, alright? And I used to come up this way for holidays. I actually worked up here for years. I've been all over. I know every square inch of this area. But I've gone back south to live and spend some time with my parents. So I decided to come up here, and where it was very cheap rent, like I pay $110 a week for a quarter acre of land. I can do what I like, no one bothers me. I've got free water, and I can live my own life here. Alright, so it's very cheap. With my pension, I can survive. Right? I do a lot better than most people. I can afford to run my car, I can afford to eat nice food, I can eat grass-fed beef. I also use my brains and I went to a food bowl. Because in a food bowl, everything's cheaper. We have cheap stalls on the side of the road, bananas, like big things, trailers of them everywhere, $2 a kilo. Local markets that have all homegrown produce. Italian settled area, so I know the food's always good. So I knew I was going to do this in an area that was good, but like everything, there's setbacks. Now, to get this cheap rent, you've got to go into the peripheral, to the little towns, out of the main population area here of the Atherton Tablelands, because everything is there. And you can find the cheaper rent, but you must have a car, you must be able to get out here. And tell you what, it's very hot in summer. Most people couldn't bear it, so you have to have air conditioning. What are you going to live in? So if you've got a reliable vehicle, you've got air conditioning, and you've got something to live in like a caravan, it's quite a good idea if you want to get away from the rent. And I don't understand, all these people are trapped in the city. The city's the last place you want to be in a housing crisis. There's so much competition. The food's probably going to cost more, and it does. The fresh produce costs more. And everyone's competing for everything. And I personally, the first thing you want to do is get out of the city. There's way more opportunity out in the country, and we want to revitalise our country towns. Lifestyle out here, compared to where I was living before, is just light and day. Down there's very woke. It's become extremely woke with both politics. The people, a lot of them don't even know reality anymore. You come out here, no one really cares about politics as long as they're left alone. It's a free lifestyle. So many people in this area are awake to what's happening in the world in regard to globalists and agendas. Because I always talk to people when I go shopping, and everyone I talk to knows what's going on. They're all fully aware. And if not, they're on their path. So that's another thing I like living in this area. I think a lot of that comes from that we have a capital city like 1,200 miles away to the south, and up here's always felt neglected by the government. There have been calls for a long time to cut it off into a separate state. So people up here always feel neglected because we don't get all the services first and all that, but I don't mind that. I come here because I don't want all the services first. I don't want 5G towers around me. I got no 5G out here. Just two little tiny phone towers that don't even hardly work properly. You know, so I want to come out to that. But like most things, I can go 5 minutes down the road. Yeah, not even 5 minutes. And I can go and buy beautiful homemade pies. There's milk, there's bread, might be frozen. There's items there, flour, tea, coffee. I can go and buy that if I want. Oh, I don't really go to pubs. There's a pub down there. You can go and get a home cooked meal. It's really meant to be really good. So I'm not that isolated, but if I want to go and check my letters, it's a half an hour drive. If I want to go to a bigger shopping centre area, it's 1 hour for me to drive. But you know what? It's beautiful scenery up here, and the drive's just the highlight of my time because I can stop at creeks, check out places that I, want to see, like where the birds go, and and I can go and visit my daughter when I go shopping. So it's a win-win for me. But moving out here, you've got to be able to meet a few things. You've got to be tough too, right? Because I went through the cyclone here last year, and you've got to be tough. Because you've got no help for weeks. No one could get out here. And by the time they went and organised to drop supplies to people out here, there was nothing in the shops. Because they dropped them some supplies and medical needs by helicopter. And water and stuff like that for drinking. But, I had enough. I didn't go without. Because I had a stockpile. I've got a stockpile now. I can probably stay here for quite a few weeks. Because if a disaster happens, I immediately take stock. I immediately look at what I'm eating. Right? First thing, look at what you're eating. So you can skip a meal. You can skip a meal, not a problem. So skip breakfast. I skipped food this morning because we got a monsoon thing happening. Eat one good meal at lunchtime. Then in the evening, just have something light. Piece of fruit, piece of cheese, something like that. Your food can last a long time. You got to remember, if you're sitting around because of the weather, you're not expelling much energy. You are if you're fighting a disaster, like I had to. But if you're just trapped, that's all I want to say is you can still do what I done, live cheaply and live a good lifestyle like we used to 10 years ago. You just got to think about it, and you got to plan it, and then you got to execute it. There's no point sitting around talking about it. I didn't. I planned it and I executed it. So what I did is the floods had come, all my stuff basically salvaged what I could. The rest was destroyed. Packed everything up. All my stuff. I've been in a tent because of the floods, and then I drove right across Australia, 2,000 miles. That's what I did, right? Because I didn't have to pay any rent while I was at this emergency centre, I saved the money to pay for my fuel to get here. That's how I did it.